next guest is an all-star on and off the ice. She was the 4th overall pick in the National Women's Hockey League 2020 draft and has just been named to the Forbes 30 under 30 list for her work in the game of hockey.
That is hot. She is undoubtedly a trailblazer, and we are so excited to have her back in studio with us as part of our Spotlight on Women's Sports series. Please welcome back to the show sports analyst and manager of diversity, equity, and inclusion for the PWHL, Saroya Tinker here. Saroya, welcome back.
Thank you.
If viewers recall, the last time that you were here, you had just secured the Isabel Cup with the Toronto Six, which was huge. That's the first Canadian team to ever do that. You decided to retire shortly after that historic win, so we got to know why.
Yeah, well, honestly, I felt so great about the win. I had Angela James as my GM at the time, and I think every athlete needs to know when it's their time to pivot, regardless of whether they can continue to play or not. And that was the case for me. I knew it was time to pivot, and we pivoted right into the right spot, I think.
Yeah, and you pivoted into broadcasting. This is something we've seen a lot of athletes do in the past, and not all of them have been successful. I think about someone like Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, not as good as a broadcaster.
Yes.
You're really good at it, but I'm curious, were there any challenges along the way?
Well, thank you for one, but most definitely dealing with the nerves. I get so nervous. January 1 for that first panel, I threw up before we got on camera.
Come on, no.
No doubt. So if you guys got any tips on anxiety, I'm here for it.
Do you have any pregame routines or anything?
I try to keep it the same as when I was playing, to be honest. You know, like get ready, get pretty, and you know, look good, feel good, play good, or perform well. So
good for you. And it just takes time. You're doing just fine. You're doing just fine. So just last year, the PWHL, they actually named you as the manager for diversity, equity, and inclusion. We know that hockey is a sport that means a lot for a lot of people in this country, but it's not always equally accessible to everybody in the same way. So what are you doing in this role to try to make it more inclusive and bring people into the hockey community that maybe historically have not felt welcome into the hockey community?
Yeah, well, I think I was given the role partially with my role with Black Girl Hockey Club as executive director, but making the sport accessible for everybody is a hard challenge. I mean, their equipment is so expensive. Obviously, women want to be in there. They want to play hockey. So in that sense, we're building out our social responsibility pillars with the PWHL right now. And I think that that's been the most beautiful part, is that we're a startup, as tough as that is. We get to build things how we want. There's no old traditions like the NHL. So we're able to push down those barriers and break down those boundaries. So that's exactly what we're looking to do. And I'm excited to announce our social responsibility pillars quite soon.
That's great. That's great.
Well, you mentioned the Black Girl Hockey Club Canada, and you're the executive director of it, as you said. And I understand, like, you're so hands-on that you just got back from a road trip with some of these girls. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I think in terms of mentorship, people often ask me, like, is there a book I give the girls, or is there books that I give them to read? But no, it's really just me being a normal human and being a big sister to them. So specifically on the road trip, we took 15 girls out to Montreal and Ottawa to watch their Black History Month PWHL games. And we stayed in a big Airbnb. It was like a big sleepover. The girls had a lot of fun. I said curfew's at 2 a.m., so they were all happy about that. And then I just woke up in the morning, made them pancakes and bacon, and then we hit the road to get back. And we're going to Detroit on another road trip this weekend. So it's super exciting and fun.
I'm just curious, listen, what ages of girls are you trying to do this outreach to? What's the response from parents?
Yeah.
You know, how are you getting over this big barrier?
Yeah, I think we definitely have a wide range of age groups. For the road trip specifically, it's that 13 to 17 area. And I know from myself in hockey, like I was just doing things, team building, that just wasn't fun for me. These girls get together and you see them completely be themselves, and it's so fun. But that teenage age gap is definitely where we see the challenges and them dropping out of sport and wondering if they want to play hockey and all that.
Yeah, can we talk money a little bit? We know that it's really cost prohibitive.
Yes.
Equipment's expensive. Getting ice time is expensive. How do you get over that hump?
Yeah, I mean, well, with Black Girl Hockey Club, we give scholarships once a year, and then we have a rolling financial aid and equipment base that we can give girls up to $1,000 worth of equipment. And I would say it costs about $1,000 to outfit someone fully in hockey equipment, and that's your 6-year-old. Then they're going to be 7, then they're going to be 8, and you need new equipment. So it's a tough space to be in for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and also congrats to you, because I've been to a PWHL game, and the diversity of that crowd, both racially, in terms of old and young, like, congratulations, because you can tell that it is something different.
Yeah.
So big congrats to you and the team.
That's so great. Can we talk about fighting on the ice a little bit?
Of course.
Listen, we know that the men's game, that's like it's built into the very fabric of the men's hockey game. It is drop the gloves, let's go. Crowd goes wild.
Elbows up.
Elbows up.
Yeah.
Elbows up. But we know there are restrictions in the women's game.
Yes.
But just a few weeks ago, the first fight in the PWHL happened.
It happened.
Oh, yeah.
It happened. This was the women's game.
I was so excited.
You were excited.
Me too.
Okay,
Oh,
what's your take on this? What's the role of physicality and even fighting in the women's game?
Well, I've got to say, I played with Teresa Venisheva on the Toronto Six on that championship team, and she's the last person on my team that I would expect to get into a fight. So somebody must have really bothered her. But at the same time, I was a big, hard-hitting defenseman that definitely took a lot of penalties, and I probably would have thrown a few fists if I was allowed to. So I'm here for it, if we're being
So
honest.
if you were back out there now, you might be doing this.
I would definitely be doing it.
Listen, I was struck by something that I wanted to ask you about, which is the U.S. women's national team coach, soccer coach in the U.S., Emma Hayes. She recently said that everything about soccer has been centered through a male lens. So the size of the field, rehab, analytics, and she's even going so far as to suggest that there should be coaching clinics for women's soccer in particular. As someone who works in the game of hockey, are there ways that you would like to see the sport better serve women in particular?
Yeah, for sure. I think we've seen it a little bit in current hockey companies in CCM and Sherwood. They have their For the Women's line. Sherwood obviously has their Sherwood Women's Design as well. And women's equipment being fitted. I mean, a chest protector. I mean, we need extra chest protection if I'm going to slide down and block that puck. So we have women's specific equipment being made now. And I think that's been the biggest change. But if you're a professional athlete, you want to be treated as a professional athlete. So male or female.
It's about time.
Yeah.
Women need equipment that makes sense for women.
Yeah.
Sounds so obvious, right?
Yeah.
Saroya, you're helping break down all of these barriers, and so we cannot thank you enough. What the next generation gets because of you, what a gift. So thank you so much for everything you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, you, come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.